So one of the problems that some people run into, or I guess one of the pitfalls that people run into, especially early animators, is they hit play at this point and they're like, ooh, it looks like a walk. It's starting to look like a walk. I must be done. And that's not the case. There's still two more poses we need to do. Remember, we need to do the down pose and the passing, or the up pose. So you'll see contact, passing, contact. That's looking good, right? But what we have in the contact is our character falling toward the ground and this leg is catching them, right? So the down pose is them absorbing that weight, right? Now the passing pose is them pushing themselves back up, right? And then the up pose is the highest pose in the walk cycle. It's also this point where the character's trying to throw that leg out in front of them fast enough to catch themselves, right? And although it looks okay right now without the down and the up, it's never going to be completely correct until we have those. So I'm going to go ahead and do my down and up poses now. And you'll notice that I'm actually getting more of that for free now. This isn't exactly my down pose, right? But it's some of the stuff, like this foot is starting to kick back, right? And really, I just need to accentuate this pose to make it feel more like the down pose. So again, go about halfway in between the two, hit F6, and I'm going to just make this look a little bit more like the down pose. Now here's something cool. The foot itself, I want the foot to be completely flat on the ground, right? And I want it to pretty much stay flat on the ground. Actually, I'm just noticing this mistake I have here. In this pose here, it should be, I guess maybe in this pose here, it shouldn't be completely flat on the ground. It should be up just a little bit, right? And so I want it to hit pretty much that pose right there, right? And I want it to flatten out. Right? So really what I could do is I could go out here to the foot controls. And so this is my left foot right here, and actually probably the deformation with it here, right? And I could copy these keyframes, Control C, and paste those here, Control V. I did that backwards actually. I need to copy the keyframes from here, Control C, and paste them here, Control V. And what that's going to do is it's going to flatten my foot out and keep it locked in place there. And so that's what I want, and that's going to give me some of that I need. My body on the character is also going to need to continue forward, and it is, right? But I want it to feel like it sinks in on this pose. So I'm going to go ahead and push the body down into that. And to show that the body is taking the weight, I'm going to go ahead and have that knee bend. Right? And so now with that, you'll notice that we go from like mostly straight leg, and I could even straighten it a little bit more if I wanted to the body absorbing the weight, right? You can see that sink down into it. In fact, I could probably exaggerate that just a little if I wanted to, right? And make that more believable. Now this back leg here, I do want that foot to feel like it is kicking through, and kick through there, because previously on the previous pose, this foot was still sort of supporting the character, right? And I want it to look like it just kicks off there, right? So I can do that with that little bit of rotation. I could also probably translate that foot up just a touch if I wanted to. Maybe start that knee moving forward a little bit more, right? And getting that feeling of it kicking through and going into the passing pose here, right? The last thing I wouldn't mind doing on this down pose is doing a little bit of work on the body deformation. So turn my deformers back on, and if my character is going from sort of leaning back here to sort of curled forward here, I want to get that transition happening. So right now, my body is rolling forward, and maybe what I'll do is I'll rotate my lower body forward more and sort of drag my head back just a little bit, right? Make it look like my head is still coming forward and sort of rotating through here, right? There we go. So that's looking pretty good. Let's do my other down pose. Now I could copy this down pose, but there's so many things that are different about it. I think I'm actually just going to create a completely new one with this one. This one hit F6. And again, while I'm here with my deformers, I'll go ahead and kind of include that part. Right? As we did earlier, I can steal the foot pose from the following pose here, where that's flattened out. And so that's going to be my character's left, let me find it, left foot. No, I'm sorry, it's the right foot, isn't it? Sorry. Right foot, and probably the deformers and everything from that. So just choose right foot here. I'm going to hit Control C there, and then go back to this pose, Control V. And so now that flattens out pretty nicely. And I am going to want my character's body to sort of sink into that pose more. I'm also going to push it forward just a little bit, and then I'll want that character's right knee to be bent a little bit, and my character's left foot to be kicking through. Get that deformer on, get that toe kicking on through. There we go. It's looking pretty good. Maybe play just a little bit with this. There we go. And so now with those two poses, the interesting thing is the walk is actually going to probably look not as good as it did before. So now there's a little bit of a weird hiccup in it, right? We can kind of feel like some weirdness there. And that is actually because these sections here are looking more accurate, but this little gap here is looking less accurate, right? So let's go ahead and just finish this up in this video. We'll go ahead and hit F6 because this one is going to be the one that is probably the easiest to fix. So what we'll notice here is this is called our up pose. And if we go look at that drawing, the reason it's called the up pose is because it's the highest pose. And Richard Williams' drawing here, he's measuring it based off of the head. A lot of times in digital animation, we're measuring it a little bit more based off the hip. But why is this the highest pose? The reason this is the highest pose is because our character's buying themselves as much time as they can to get this foot in front of them. And again, this is not a conscious decision. This is something that we all do automatically. We learned how to do this when we were like 1.5 years old. So I want to push my character's weight up pretty high, and they're going to be sort of out here sort of floating in front of this foot. Sometimes people will push the character up on their tiptoes just a little bit, and we may do that. We may not. We'll see if that's necessary. But that's enough to get the character to a little bit more height so they can fling this leg forward, right? And so that's what we're going to be working on here in this. And so you'll see as we sort of skip through to these, we're already starting to roll up on the toes, so maybe we'll just go ahead and keep it. So we'll keep that. And the first thing though, or the main thing though, is we need to move that body up higher and maybe a little bit more forward. So they are out here in space, falling forward. I'll maybe rotate that back, get some deformers here. I believe this will work good. Yeah, let's try. I'm actually going to, because my previous drawing, my character's curled forward, I want it to feel like he's kind of going in between here and here, right? So I want that to feel like the character's coming back to this point and starting to rotate back toward it. Now the biggest issue we're running into is we're getting a lot of squash here on this knee. And I really just wanted to feel like this, the character's throwing their leg out there in front of themselves, right? So I want this to actually be, I may even put my hip just a little higher. My foot is going to be sort of throwing itself forward again, or it is throwing forward. So get a little bit like this. Actually, I'm still gonna keep pushing that further forward. So that knee a little further forward, this foot a little further forward here. Yeah, we'll do something like this. Actually, I think this calf is too low as part of it too. So let's do that. On my foot, I'm going to turn on my deformer here just so I can drag my toe just a little bit. And so now we get that high point, dragging the toe out to this contact, right? And so maybe this is a little exaggerated, but I'm all right with that. So one more breakdown here, F6, there. Make this contact pose better. Again, I'll push my character's body higher. Maybe play around with a little bit of those deformers a little bit. Oh, we're dragging it here like this. I'm okay with what this leg is doing. It's my left leg, needs a little bit more work. So let's pull that up here. Again, I may actually pull that upper leg a little higher too. foot. I'll pull that a little higher, rotate that around. Actually, it's getting kind of hard to find where this foot placement is supposed to be. I think I need to put that knee further forward. I do. And this foot needs to come further, a little bit further forward too. Go ahead and drag that toe just a touch. And so with that now, I think I may have the entire cycle. Let's see. Go ahead and clear out all of those. Yeah, that's working much better.